From the campus of Minneapolis North High School, we proudly present a Saturday night edition of high school boys basketball. Tonight, a pair of ranked teams, the Minnehaha Academy Redhawks, number 5 in Class 2A, take on the Minneapolis North Polars, number 1 in Class 1A. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Peden. Thank you for joining us on another edition of boys basketball. Minneapolis North, they're no secret anymore, even though this is our first broadcast of the year. They are 13-2. Those 2 losses came without their star, Tyler Johnson, who was taking part in some all-star football commitments. But this team is deep. In fact, this team's depth could rival some of the 4A teams. They have 5 players averaging double digits in scoring, including some familiar faces like Tyler Johnson, Jameel Jackson, and Odell Wilson. Jameel Jackson will not play tonight as he's recovering from some soreness that he incurred in yesterday's win over Minneapolis Southwest. This team, their motto, unfinished business. If you're not familiar with that, last year they fell to Minnehaha Christian Academy in a 2-point overtime loss in the section finals after they were the favorite to make the state tournament and perhaps won it all. They hold that mark right now, but they're not about to let any rankings affect their hype or ego. Minnehaha Academy, 10-4. Their last game was a loss to Edina, but that won't affect them for state tournament matters, as Edina is a 4A school. But this team is young and have a lot of building blocks. Their leading scorers, JaVonni Bickham, a 10th grader, and Jalen Suggs, an 8th grader. Both are very active. They can be very aggressive and aren't afraid to drive to the rim. And for some of these carryovers, perhaps a sense of payback. Last time these 2 teams met 2 years ago, Minneapolis North won in a runaway 40 points. It went to running time. I don't think we're going to have that lopsided of a score this time, but these are 2 teams you could easily see in the state tournament bracket come March. The starting lineups are coming up in a moment. This is high school boys basketball. And welcome back to Minneapolis North High School. Let's take a look at the starters for Minnehaha Academy. Same folks as last week, so Jalen Suggs, number 1, is on the floor, alongside Benny Larry, number 3. The senior guard, number 4, Dawson Rademacher. The senior forward, number 5, Jake Richardson, the senior forward. And number 42, JaVonni Bickham, the sophomore forward. Minneapolis North will start Jaquan Sanders-Smith taking the place of Jameel Jackson tonight. He's number 4, the junior guard. Number 10, Tyler Johnson, the senior guard, the Gopher football recruit. Number 13, Patrick Dembley, the senior guard, a transfer from Richfield. Number 32, Odell Wilson IV, a sophomore center. And number 35, Isaac Johnson, the junior guard.
And now it's time.
We hope to have a partner up in the booth here, and if not, I'll just improvise by myself because that's what I'm a pro at doing. In any event, you see the Minneapolis North starters take the floor, and what a season they have had thus far. Of course, they're focused on one task and one task only, and that is winning the Class A state championship. Normally, it's not good to hold on to grudges for nearly a year, but if you know Larry McKenzie and his staff, they'll find a way to take those losses and use that as motivation to accomplish said goals. In fact, Larry McKenzie has put a moratorium on press interviews because he's been bombarded with so many requests, which comes with success as proven by teams like the Minnesota Lynx. You do well and you get the mainstream folks who want their piece of the pie, want to capture that glory. And of course, for us, this is our 3rd year covering the North program. We've been here since the start of the Larry McKenzie era, and it's been fun to watch them grow to a bona fide contender, much like his Patrick Henry teams in the last decade. As we noted, Minneapolis North's 2 losses came against teams when Tyler Johnson couldn't go toe-to-toe with them. Those losses were to Pebblebrook, Georgia, part of a winter showcase at Johnson High School. That loss won't have any impact in their state tournament rankings. And the other loss came to Champlin Park during a holiday tournament. Again, Tyler Johnson was not available, but they got a glimpse of the future. And what they noticed is that when Tyler Johnson isn't around, finding the leadership can be a bit tougher. At least for now. But if you're wondering that this team is going to fade after the seniors graduate, rest assured they will be very competitive for years to come. We're underway. Minnehaha wearing the white, Minneapolis North wearing the blue. And this is Jalen Suggs. He had a huge role as he'll go to the line for two. He had a big role in the win over St. Paul Central. Put together a significant scoring run in the second half that helped Minnehaha sweat it out in overtime. Jalen Suggs gets on the board here. And looks like we're going to have our partner join us here in a moment. I think she got lost on her way here, and she's a student at Minneapolis North. So we'll go ahead and you go ahead and put the headset and mic on as I continue to narrate this action here as Minnehaha takes a 2-0 lead. Your microphone's right in front of you there. And this is Luulay Yusuf, who is now joining us. I thought you knew how to get to this school.
I did. I had to find parking here, man.
If you think the parking was bad now, just wait until the Hopkins game.
I know.
Well, you haven't missed much as Minneapolis North looks to bring the ball up court. Isaac Johnson, quick release three, and he hits it. Whoa, Tyler Johnson stole the inbound pass. Even I didn't see it. Patrick Dembley goes up and gets the roll. Now, I imagine you've seen this team once or twice, Luulay. How deep is this North program?
It is really deep, actually. You can tell by the way they correspond with each other on the court. You can see right now. They had help back there in the...
That was number 0, Jose Williamson, who goes in right away. Who got the bucket. Minnehaha with the steal. They can run as well. Benny Larry. No good. And Bickham can't get the follow through. We'll get you up to speed with the names and numbers here as we move along. But it's Suggs to inbound. Suggs, the 8th grader, and putting up some impressive numbers this season. But it's a 5-second violation on the Redhawks. It's a 5-4 score in favor of the Polars. There's Patrick Dembley, the transfer from Richfield. Had to sit out last year because of the transfer rules, but his addition just only adds more ferociousness to this varsity roster. There he goes, up baseline. Fade away, no good, and it's picked up by Bickham.
Corner shot.
Bickham, he'll take it himself, but he can't get through the hole. Isaac Johnson with the rebound. The shovel to Sanders Smith.
Ooh.
He almost traveled, but goes up to the rim. I thought he was going to get hit for traveling. Bickham, the sophomore, averaging nearly 19 a game.
Ooh.
A third-year veteran on the varsity roster. And Suggs, deep three, pure!
He's an 8th grader, you tell me.
Yes, he is an 8th grader, but he doesn't play like it. As you may have seen with the Minnehaha game, I understand that you had a chance to watch their win over Central.
Suggs is a really good player.
They nickname him Biggs, but he's hit with the elbow. You want to know how dedicated this woman is to basketball? I sent her the link to the Minnehaha Central game, and she watched it almost instantly, as I understand it.
I'm telling you, but basketball was like a lifestyle. You gotta learn how to live it.
It looks like they have switched the foul call.
Blocking foul by player 2.
On Bickham. So that's his first, and a bit surprised by that. I thought they were going to get Wilson, but now that I look at it, I think Wilson lost control of the ball, and so perhaps that's what led to the blocking foul. If there's a scramble for it, nobody seems to want it. Odell Wilson steps over Bickham.
What?
Odell Wilson, his nickname is Biggs, and perhaps the most enthusiastic member of the Polars roster. I had a chance to speak with him a couple times last year, and for the most part, he usually brings a smile on his face. Here's a chance for a three-point play. Wilson, 14.6 points per game, misses the free throw.
Press right here.
Now, how many teams do you know that have 5 players in double digits? Tyler Johnson with the poke. Here he goes! And to anyone who was wondering if he would give up basketball to concentrate on football, right away we have a whistle and stoppage here. Oh, we got a little bit of a extracurricular going on between Bickham and Johnson. Minnehaha, though, an aggressive team in Minneapolis North, as you're familiar with, they're a team that doesn't really back down from anybody, so emotions might be getting a little heated.
As you can see already.
So the officials are going to calm tempers for a moment, and that gives us a chance to, well, introduce Luulay to you if you're not familiar. She's a member of the Minneapolis North girls basketball team, a team that's on a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Feel free to jump in. What do you think this is, a test?
Oh, no. I was really overthinking it. But yeah, Lady Polar, this is my 3rd year playing, and we're on, our next game is at North, actually. We're going against Henry. And hopefully we'll get our 6th win.
Now, you've seen this team over the years, since the Larry McKenzie era, so you've had a chance up front to see their growth and maturity and just their increase in talent. What do you make of this North program? Because this was a school a few years ago on the verge of closing, and now
we're a
North
big family.
Yeah, North basketball. I don't want to say it's returned to the level of the 90s of the Khalid El-Amin years. And, I mean, you get into those superlatives. You don't really want to make comparisons, but to see this kind of support, seeing everyone rally around this team the way it is now.
This is really interesting. You can see they have a really big team bond because of Coach McKenzie. He makes sure they have a team bond. And
it's spread to the football team. There are a lot of football crossovers that were a part of the runner-up squad in this year's Class A state tournament. And this basketball, the whole athletics program.
Travel.
Yes. Well, Luulay's got a good eye on this. But to finish up that remark, the athletics program on their own has revived this school in a way. You know, admission has increased over the years as Dembley takes a deep 3 and is short. Sanders Smith over pursued, and it's a dead ball rebound to the Redhawks. But to go from the verge of closing to slowly rebuilding, where now some of the other programs are taking part. North basketball is fun again. And that's Jalen Suggs with his best Stephen Curry impression.
Wow. I have no words for that.
I do. Step back 3. Sanders Smith can't get the roll. It's 11-10. 2 years ago, this North team blew out Minnehaha, and I don't know how many crossovers were on that squad 2 years ago, but the Redhawks came here to play, and Sanders Smith got a little too grabby. He'll be hit with a foul. What are your impressions so far, Luulay, of this game?
This is going to be a really good game, as I can tell you.
You're at a loss for words. Well, you'll have a chance to find a few as we have a timeout here on Minneapolis North. 13:59 and a tight start here, 11-10 in favor of the Polars. And Minnehaha, in a way, I was talking with the North staff, they feel like the Redhawks are like the Polars were 2 years ago, having a young core and using that to build a strong program. But if you know the history of these two schools, these folks aren't fads. These are consistent contenders.
You're right.
Minnehaha winning state in 2013 with the likes of Kahari Carter. His father is now part of the coaching staff, Randy Carter. If you Gophers fans remember him. And Minneapolis North, they haven't reached state yet. They've been to the section final twice in Section 4 Class A, and both times they fell by 2 to the Minnehaha Christian Academy Mustangs. Minnehaha not expected to contend this year in the boys bracket as they're going through an overhaul, but North is not looking past anybody. They want a state title, and they don't care how they get it.
This is the year they want. They're going to try their hardest.
Well, you know they want it bad when Larry McKenzie is not accepting any interview requests until mid-March.
You're right, man.
And Lance Johnson having a word in with official, that's going to bring Larry over as well as they get an explanation. But now most folks might take that as maybe a sign of cockiness or conceitedness, but in the case of Larry, as we noted in the open just before you got here, this North team and Larry himself were bombarded with press requests all season because of who they are, what they've been able to do, and now everyone knows that this is a team you can't back down from, and it just got to be a little overwhelming for a guy who's focused on adding a fifth. Oh my goodness! No foul called. If that went in, I would have gone home.
Yeah, I would have stood up and walked off too. No, I'm just kidding.
There would be no more announcers.
Isaac with the shot.
Isaac with the deep tray.
Short.
Tyler Johnson with the old board. He fires from 15, banks it in.
And he go back to defense.
Tyler Johnson, my nickname for him has been Mr. Clutch, and that's an over and back. Jalen Suggs was unaware of it. You might want to hold the microphone a little closer to you, by the way.
That's Eric Rogers coming in.
Zeke Rogers is his nickname.
Mm-hmm. He's in for Odell.
Well, like you noted, this North team is deep. They have a lot of folks, and it looks like Wilson, he's going to go back in right away. Interesting substitution pattern.
Yeah.
Dembley tried to shovel pass to Johnson. It was broken up by the Redhawks. 13:09 left in the first half. So Wilson goes back in for Sanders Smith as Dembley to inbound. Johnson bouncing over to Dembley. Isaac Johnson, mid-range, can't float it. And Suggs picks it up.
Still.
2-on-1. Jalen Suggs got in the way. He set himself up as a pick, and Tyler Johnson couldn't throw it down.
Tyler with the Isaac with the rebound.
Terry Lockett missed that three-point shot, and we have a foul. Tyler Johnson saying it was in the act of shooting, or trying to plead that case, but he's not going to get it. The foul is on Jalen Suggs, his first. Dembley to Tyler.
Back to Dembley. Trying to get a shot.
Isaac Johnson not ready for the pass there, an unforced turnover. You don't see that too often with Minneapolis North, I imagine.
It was forced, that's why. Oh, they should have trapped that right there.
Suggs to Bickham.
Hands up.
Bickham weaves through and scores. Here's Johnson with the bounce pass to Wilson, and
that wasn't a good pass.
Wilson didn't look like he was ready for it. Isaac Johnson almost recovers. Wilson. That was Bickham with the rejection. Lockett has it. Lockett, one of 3 8th graders on the Redhawks, and all of them see significant time on the varsity roster. And that leads me to what were you doing in 8th grade?
I was playing for my school. I didn't know actually that. Well, I knew of it, but my mom wanted me to stay on my level. But I never did because I played parkour, but I always played for like a team bigger than me or older than me. So I got to high school and I started off with JV, freshman year JV varsity, then sophomore year varsity, and junior year varsity. Hopefully you're gonna get senior year varsity.
I would hope so.
Me too.
I'd be a little concerned if you went back to JV.
Personal foul. Pat got to keep his hands to himself.
Dembly does get hit. It was his first personal. And this Redhawks team, I'll say, give them this much, they're not intimidated at all.
And they're a young team, too. Ooh, good steal.
Dembly makes up.
Come down.
Count it.
And one.
Dembly will head to the line. Dembly averaging 13.1 a game. And again, you have a better perspective than I do. How is this team altered or improved with Dembly now being able to play?
He knows how to run the team really good. You can see that he gets good passes. He knows how to keep moving around, cutting in, cutting out, make sure the post players get the ball too. He's actually a really good point guard. He has good IQ.
Lock it.
And a good shot.
Missed the three-pointer, and Isaac Johnson with the rebound.
Pass it up.
Johnson
Pass.
tried to skip
Come
to
on,
Wilson.
Dale. There we go. That's the bigs I know.
And he recovers what could have been a broken play, and he's up to 4 points. The Polars are up by 5. Now that was an unforced turnover, and it looked like Siegel Howard. He's a 9th grade guard. He wasn't ready for that pass. And no matter how hard you prepare, and you probably understand this, mistakes do happen. So how do you make sure that they don't bother you?
Make it up on defense and make it up on offense. You mess up on defense, you got to make it up on offense. You mess up on offense, you got to make it up on defense.
I sense a theme here.
Yep. Calm down, calm down. They need to calm down because we're leading right now. Look at Isaac. Good job.
This North team,
no
foul called, and Jalen Suggs coming from behind for the block. I'm starting to wonder if he's really an 8th grader. Foul before the pass.
Tech.
And that's a tech.
I already knew it. Seen it coming.
Isaac Johnson saying, "What did I do?" But why did you see the tech coming?
Because when he hit the floor, I guess he moved his leg or twitched his leg a little bit.
And I saw, I don't know if Jalen Suggs tried to sell it or not, but you see Suggs fall over,
yeah.
And in that situation.
I think Odell coming in for Isaac now.
So Suggs will shoot the technical. It's going to be a double foul. So Suggs will pick up his second personal foul, and Isaac Johnson picking up his second because technicals count as personals at this level. Jalen Suggs up to 8 points already. Now, you had a chance to watch the tape of Minnehaha Central, and so this guy.
He got a really good shot. I didn't know he was an 8th grader. I ain't paid attention to that, but I would expect he'll be a senior.
You call yourself a basketball junkie?
He is really good.
Well, he put together quite a run in the second half before fouling out against Central, and I think he had 10 points by himself, 10 points in a row, and Minnehaha survived, and that was a battle of attrition. And I've got a feeling we might be seeing another one here with how chippy this game is already.
Yeah. Look at this. Look. He's trying to draw play. Help.
Jalen Suggs used up the dribble. Can't get the acrobatic move. Siegel Howard.
That was double.
That's a block from Tyler.
Good job. Look up.
Wilson has it. Dembly, spin move, and he's broken up, but a foul's called.
Foul on. I don't think that was a foul, but.
It's on Suggs, and that's his third. So, much like the Central game, Minnehaha is going to have to work through some adversity here as the one player in rhythm right now for the Redhawks has to go to the bench. And Dembly will shoot free throws.
1-1.
I'm not sure it is. I see 6 on the...
Oh, it is 1-1.
So maybe they haven't updated the fouls yet. I didn't think it was a shooting foul, but... Dembley makes both. Bickham. Pump fake the three.
Big needs to stay down low. Good defense. You can see I have really good defense right now.
Well, they're overloading the right side. And that was last touch by Wilson. But going back to the pressure you were noting, North overloading the right side and Minnehaha unable to find the weak side there.
They've seen it, but they've seen it too late. Taylor, sophomore.
Tyler's younger brother. And Siegel Howard is rejected. Went into a sea of blue, and they're going to give North a dead ball overboard. Taylor Johnson, by the way, is one of my apparently many fans that I have here at Minneapolis North. One of my friends who's an alumni even joked that I guess I'm more popular here than she is. So whoever's the president of my fan club, I want to have a word with you. And then I can,
right back.
And then I can ask for your autograph. Tyler Johnson, short on the three.
Good rebound. Okay.
Taylor Johnson's
been.
He's been waiting for his opportunity, and Dembley.
No.
Tyler Johnson
with the base.
I see what Dembley was doing. 9:15 left, and Tyler Johnson showing his vertical. Like we said, he'll be playing football next fall.
With the U.
And his coach-to-be is in attendance tonight, Tracy Clays. And Charles Adams working security tonight. As you may know, he works for the police department and also head coach of the football team.
OA.
And part of the renaissance of athletics here at Minneapolis North. So, I know you I guess have a stake in this match a little bit. You seem to have a stake in one team over another. But that being said, North pushing the lead to 8. How have they done it?
Really good. You can see they have a strong defense. They're starting to see their weak side. So they're starting to pressure Coach McKenzie. It's being real smart right now. Always. Minnehaha need to figure out what the Polars are doing too, because they need to start switching sides on them.
And how do you do that if you're the Red Hawks? Because you're probably not going to see Jalen for the rest of the half.
They need to, they need to watch the middle, because now they ain't got Jalen, they no shooters.
And Suggs is 8, unofficially. Only 2 other players have scored, Bickham and Williamson.
Look at tight defense. Ooh, travel?
Almost.
Yeah.
Be careful, don't step off the pivot.
They're having a big man bring the ball up. Shot.
Lockett. Kicks out.
Good ball movement right now. It's a real good ball movement.
Well, remember, this is a very resilient Minnehaha team. They were down by 13 against St. Paul Central before rallying back to win.
They have the Polars scrambled up for a little bit.
Well, with no shot clock, I don't mind that. You can take your time.
Shot.
Now they get an opening.
And
Larry. Benny Larry with his first field goal. And Larry, considered by Lance Johnson to be a Charles Barkley-like figure of sorts for the Red Hawks.
Good job.
These passes are going to give you a heart attack, aren't they?
Then you start playing team ball again.
Tyler Johnson, 15-footer, swish. Tyler Johnson up to 8. 23-15 our score. Rademacher. Out to Lockett.
This still is a foul.
But it's a foul on Jaquan Sanders-Smith. That is North's last to give. Both teams officially out of fouls to give now. Apparently they're in the bonus too. Well, I think the foul tally is off on the scoreboard because I see 6 fouls. And Bickham going to the line. Nope, now the officials get it corrected, so it will be a side out. Maybe they're trying to fool me.
They're so interested in the game, they ain't paying attention.
Well, and when you're out there playing, you're not really paying attention to the fouls, I imagine. So I'm guessing that situation's happened to you a few times.
Yes. Oh, he should have stayed in the middle. He had that.
Well, Larry goes back out. Well, that's okay. When you have no shot clock, you can reset.
Yeah, consistent.
Lockett used up the dribble. Bickham.
Really good. Yeah,
to the hole. No good.
Big man. Yeah, it's really good handles. Isaac Johnson. Good pass.
Bounce to Wilson.
Back up.
Sanders Smith. I think that was design. What about you? I think Wilson meant to miss. So
get it.
But the opportunistic Jaquan Sanders Smith, he averages 7.6 and 3 rebounds a game. He'll have a chance for a 3-point play. And North has some big games coming up. This is one of them. They get Hopkins on Tuesday and Wyzetta in a week and a half.
Defense.
Sanders Smith up to 5.
Ooh, what?
They did not cross the backcourt. The pass went right back to him. Sanders Smith deflects it away. Bickham. Isaac Johnson's been playing up close with them. He's looked at it.
Tension going on, I can see.
Well, Bickham's looked at it 3s a couple of times, and they won't allow it. Benny Larry to the rim, no. And a foul. It's going to go against Zeke Rogers. Nope, going the other way. So they're going to get Bickham on the push-off. And that's his second. We are definitely in the penalty now. Isaac Johnson to shoot 1-1. Johnson, 14 points per game, 4.1 rebounds.
Come on, Isaac. Could have took that lane before they started.
Empty possession.
Shot.
And Lockett. That 3 rattles out. Tyler Johnson leaps up for the rebound. But Lockett alertly steals it behind the back dish to Bickham for the score. This is fun. Johnson for 3. And Bickham with the rebound. Dembley pokes it away. Tyler Johnson.
In and out.
That's about as far in as you can go and still have it rim out. Now that's a shot you can live with, I suppose. 6:20 left in the first half. 26-18 is our score.
Look back, pass back.
Rogers drains the runner. That's his first field goal.
They're back. He's gonna shoot.
Suggs not afraid. I'm out of here.
You called in the 8th grade.
I'm out of here.
Oh my God. Come on, pass, slow down. That was like by the half-court line, basically.
So Stephen Curry wins 1 NBA title. Now everyone wants to be like him. I hope you're working on your 3s there, Luulay. And there's a steal. Lockett. He's got Suggs, and that's going to be a charge. I don't think Lockett saw Suggs. He was open.
He was. He should have passed it.
I think if he bounces to Suggs, that's you're at least looking at a trip to the line. Instead, it's an offensive foul on Terry Lockett. That's his 3rd personal foul.
3rd?
That's what they have on the scoreboard. Well, Minnehaha is up to 9 fouls, so.
But
28-21.
Derek with the ball. Pat.
Dembley.
Shot. In.
There is no regard for distance tonight. Everyone wants to just go deep.
Shot. In there. Oh, no.
That three was off the mark from 21. Peden Johnson.
Oh, dang.
Who scored that last one? Who scored that last basket?
I think it was 42.
Bickham. Well, I'll give it to him, and we'll sort that out a bit later. But Jalen Suggs, who has to be careful here, playing with 3 fouls, playing with a sense of fearlessness here.
Yeah, I see. He got a lot of confidence.
Well, when you look at Minnehaha's schedule, I mean, he's had plenty of opportunities to do that as we take a look at their games. I mean, some quality wins, including St. Paul Central last week. And St. Paul Highland Park, that's a team you can't sleep on these days. And the losses that they incurred are games that they can learn from. Well, Hopkins was one of them, but Lance Johnson felt there were a lot of positives you could take away from that. And St. Croix Lutheran, it was early in the year. But this Red Hawks team, they have a high-powered offense. They try to get to at least 70 per game. And it's clear tonight they've got some shooters.
Yes.
Dembley. Oh my goodness. I don't believe it. Could you imagine if there was a 4-point line in basketball?
There should be with this 8th grader on the team. But still, Quan,
one-on-one with Suggs, and Suggs has to let him go because of the 3 fouls.
I think number 21.
And North's lead up to 13. Suggs. Travel. Once in a while I can spot these things.
I expect that to be a travel.
That's what I said. Once in a while I manage to spot these things.
Yeah.
I actually, once in a while I sound like I know more than I actually do. I'm completely clueless, as you probably figured out.
Oh my God.
4 minutes to go, and the Polars up by 13, their largest lead of the game.
They're going to slow it down now. Jarrett. Back to Pat.
Let's see, will Denver take another one?
Will he take another? Nope.
Well, that screen didn't really work out. They're going to go baseline instead.
That was a foul?
Well, I think Williamson grabbed Johnson from behind.
Before, block.
And that's what they're going to, yep.
Tyler on the line.
That's going to be the first on Williamson. Nope, the second. And that's going to send Tyler Johnson to the line. Double bonus now for the Polars. And Tyler Johnson, he's missed a few games again because of his all-star football duties, but he's averaging 16 points and 5 rebounds a game, and the heart of this team. And it was explained in the 2 losses when he couldn't play, and those were games that North were leading early.
Yeah.
But I spoke with the assistant head coach Trent Witz, who's become the liaison as McKenzie continues his moratorium, and he mentioned that when Tyler Johnson isn't on the floor, the leadership just isn't there, and that's just because they're so used to having him on the sidelines and being the go-to figure that he really inspires this team to do more. Suggs was close. Uh-oh.
He can't get that one in.
He actually missed. He is human after all.
He is human after all.
That looked good, though.
One down there. Jaquan's down there.
Here comes Dembley with the shovel to Wilson.
And it's good. As you can see, Pat got really good IQ on the court.
And Biggs adds to North's big lead.
Nope.
Williamson, baseline, reverse, is low, but he's fouled by Dembley, so 2 free throws coming for Jose Williamson, the 6'4" junior. Williamson averaging about 5 a game. The foul is the second on Dembley. And does it seem to you, that North has built a 17-point lead? Because it seems like Minnehaha gets a few moments in there. And
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden you look at the score and it's maybe a bit surprising. And it's just because of the way Minnehaha has played, but North has been able to get a few more plays in. And Williamson gets the back end. Free throws have been a bit shaky on both sides so far.
Isaac Johnson back in the game. Pat was looking for a post.
Wilson will fire from the elbow, and he's off. You see him take shots that often?
Uh-oh. I thought he was going to take it.
Nope. Williamson will go baseline instead and score. Baseline jumper, to be precise. Well, they had you fooled. And this game's certainly not over yet. But I will say North remarkably patient as Dembley takes another three, and it's too strong. Suggs to Howard. Howard goes up. What?
Come on, Dale.
What is up with these rims? We saw a Tyler Johnson three miss. Well, that one goes in for Wilson. There are two shots that should have gone in. And probably any other gym they would have. Suggs through the hole, and he's blocked by Biggs. And that was set up by the double team that Suggs drew near the top of the key. 1:44 left. 42-26 our score.
Isaac could have took that. Meow has a lot of patience.
Bickham shakes him off. No good.
Rebound by Tyler. All right, let's see what Peden does with this.
Transition
Good
look.
pass. That's another one. Good job.
That's back-to-back transition buckets for the sophomore. And that's a silly foul. It's on Sanders.
He got 4 now.
No, the second.
Oh, that's his second. I thought it was foul on Minnehaha. He threw an elbow.
May have been the last person there, but even that situation, you just don't want to put yourself at risk of committing a foul in the backcourt. Because now Suggs goes to the line. It's a 1-on-1 range for the Redhawks. But that's Minnehaha's top scorer, and giving him a chance for freebies.
Yeah.
That's not going to sit well with Larry and crew.
He wants to play tight, but then he can't. And if he doesn't, then he's just going to take a shot. So it's like, I don't know what to do.
You know what? You're probably right. If he's
Yeah.
not tight, he'll just take one from 75 feet.
Pretty much. Isaac.
High-low play. Wow.
The rim just don't like us.
The rim is very unfriendly tonight. I think the rim isn't happy about, well, there are a lot of junior high games today, and so the start time got pushed back to 6:30, and I think the rim is responding with a sense of rebelliousness. Caden Johnson, pure from the corner, and that's his first field goal. 44 seconds remaining in half number 1. And Minneapolis North may hold for the final shot here. Unless Tyler Johnson wants to take it from deep. He steps into it.
In and out again.
Another rim out. These are some really good shots, so I'm not arguing the shot selection. And Minnehaha can't get the outlet pass hooked up. Dembley with 15 seconds.
We gotta slow it down. We gotta slow it down, slow it down, slow it down.
Wilson 1-on-1, the fadeaway. Leaves it short. Bickham has it. Plenty of time. Johnson 1-on-1.
Why?
And that's the third foul on Dembley.
There's only 3 seconds on the clock, Patrick. Should have just dialed that down.
Well, As you can clearly tell, she did not like that play.
No.
She did not like I don't think Luulay was happy with Demble's move to try to stop him. But I don't know if you're paying attention to the time, and maybe you've been through this too. In the mind of a player, you want to stop and make them earn it from the free throw line. Well, I guess now it's a good foul, right?
Yeah, he missed the first one.
But in that situation, I think the first instinct of a player is to stop a fast break.
Yeah.
And so...
But he didn't plant his feet,
Well, it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
It's not easy to brace yourself for someone who's barreling at 100 miles an hour in your direction. Johnson does get the back end. 3 seconds. Dembele,
Slow it down.
half court.
Why? I know Coach McKenzie didn't appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure he'll appreciate a 14-point lead for the Polars, 46-32 as we enter a halftime intermission. Luulay, your thoughts on the first half?
Good defense, and I give it to the 8th grader on another team, but we have really good defense
Jalen
right
Suggs.
now.
You might want-
Jalen
Suggs.
Jalen Suggs.
Remember his name because his parents might not be happy with you if you don't. And for Minneapolis North, what do you like out of them so far?
Defense and getting the ball around and getting post player to get a lot of shots down there, but bigs.
So how does it feel to be on the microphone?
I don't know.
Well, we'll get you up to speed here at this halftime intermission, and we'll check first half numbers for you. But Minneapolis North leads 46-32 as we enter halftime. This is high school boys basketball. And we return to Minneapolis North High School. Mike Peden here with Luulay Yusuf, and the Polars have a 46-32 lead over the Minnehaha Academy Redhawks. And going over the first half numbers unofficially, Tyler Johnson and Patrick Dembele have 12 points each, and the leading scorer is Jalen Suggs with 13, thanks to some deep threes of his that have pretty much astonished the two of us and just about everyone else in this building. But Minneapolis North's defense, as you noted, doing a really good job crowding the strong side, and we'll see what the second half brings, but it sounds like experience might be trumping youth here. Polars looking to go 14-2. Oh, go ahead.
Jalen got 3 fouls, is it? So
Suggs has 3.
Suggs has 3.
Dembele has 3.
Dembele has 3.
And Terry Lockett has 3 for the Redhawks.
All right.
So those are the players to keep an eye on.
Trying to get the ball around right here.
Isaac Johnson gets the bounce.
They're starting off really good right here.
Well, they're keeping an eye on Suggs now. He gets a little bit of a push off on Johnson, and the official calls it. So that's the 4th foul on Jalen Suggs.
Oh, dang, he started off. You got to keep his hands to
31 seconds into the second half.
He's only an 8th grader, though, so it's something he got to...
Well, they're going to send in Terry Lockett to take his place, and they almost have to here.
Yeah.
That really hurts, though.
Ooh.
Whoa, and he almost picked up his 5th on that drive. Suggs has to be really careful. Rademacher hasn't seen much action tonight. And Suggs, he'll take the 3.
And is it short?
Well, this time Tyler Johnson stayed on him.
Come on.
Dembele.
Short.
Wilson there for the recovery. That's the 3rd putback, I believe, for Wilson tonight. And Benny Larry on the drive. He can't finish. Here.
Shot.
Isaac Johnson, a transition 3.
Oh, no.
Well, almost looked in. It hit the
top of the roof.
Hit the support beam, so well, that's a dead ball rebound to the Redhawks, and that will finally give Minnehaha a chance to sub Jalen Suggs out.
And Nazaire came in too for Denley. He's an 8th grader too, right?
Lockett is.
Yeah, they have a really young team, actually.
And Caden Johnson is the other 8th grader who we've seen in action tonight. Tyler Johnson with the strip, and Bickham with the steal in return. Minnehaha can push. It's Lockett. Wilson with a sidearm block. That was great awareness on his part to catch up with Lockett effectively and not draw contact. That's a very tough block to make.
Lockett with the ball.
Larry, he misses from 3.
Rebound.
North in transition again.
Pass.
Wilson with another finish. Odell Wilson the 4th, up to 14 points. And so far, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but in the second half, well, North, obviously their defense doing a big job, but they're doing a much... North is able to penetrate to the inside. Minnehaha has been stuck outside.
Because they got a lot of shooters out there, so the coach is doing what's best for the team right now. As you can see, they have a lot of shooters. Well, Suggs is out.
And North is going to say North has been very in tune with that.
They have a 3-2 right now, you can see. 3 out, 2 in. Shot.
Williamson from the elbow is good.
As you can see, North not even letting them set up their defense right now.
They're a speedy group. Wilson thought about taking it from 15. Rogers.
Oh, he should have gave it to Tyler. Ooh.
Sanders Smith with a stunner step and the triple. Larry McKenzie will call a timeout, even though his Polos are up by 21. And well, you've been in this situation a few times. I've always wondered why you call a timeout when your team is up by a bunch.
So he can give some corrections, because he feels like they're probably not playing team ball right now, but, you know, it's coach's call.
They certainly have the fast break game down.
Not letting them set up. I mean, I need to set up quicker and then get some shots in by playing team ball. They were patient the first half. They're kind of in a rush right now.
Well, they built their lead to 21 in this rush of theirs. And Minneapolis North, as you know, McKenzie in his 3rd year, and one of the conditions for him to take this job was tough non-conference opponents. And that's been a staple of his every year. Champlain Park, as we mentioned, Central Minnesota Christian. They are a top 10 school in Class A. They won by 30. St. Croix Lutheran, the #1 team in 2A. And they have a couple more on the way. Hopkins, Wayzata, and they go back to Rushford Peterson.
Dribbling.
You say they go back to Rushford Peterson on the road to take on the defending Class A state champions.
Minnehaha's ball.
They trail by 21, 14:30 left. Well, you have to take this risk almost if you're Lance Johnson, the head coach of the Red Hawks, because you're down by 21 and Suggs is your most consistent option of scoring here.
He's out there.
It's Larry with the deep 3. The laser entry pass, but Sanders Smith couldn't handle it.
Gets it back.
They'll have a chance to shoot too. North doing a very good job recovering plays tonight. I think you've got some fans over there. And I thought I was I was a celebrity up at the north side of Minneapolis. Sanders Smith at the line, missing the front end. As we have increasing membership of Luulay's fan club here. Sanders Smith. He has 10 points, 1 of 4 North players in double digits, as Luulay is astonished with herself, pretty much speechless over here. I never got that kind of a reception when I was in school. Sanders Smith gets the back end. North up by 22. And an edition of Saturday Night Basketball. The skip to Howard. Well, it was intended for Bickham. He picks it up anyway.
Good job.
Drains the runner.
Get back on defense, y'all. Oh, good block.
Tyler Johnson ran into a crowded paint. Benny Larry is stripped by Dembley.
Look, corner. Watch corner.
He'll take it himself, and the rim ends up rejecting him. And he crashed into the wall. He's slow to get back, and that's a foul on Wilson. So Caden Johnson, the 6'1", 8th grade forward.
Jaquan Sanders back in.
Dembley slow to return. I don't know. Guessing he hit the padding on his way through, and if he didn't, he would have ran into one of the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
That could have been scary. So, Caden Johnson. Now, how about this? 8th graders, and they're 6'1". So they're not done growing yet.
Not done growing at all.
What about you?
I'm done growing.
You're done growing?
Yeah.
So you've settled at 6'8".
5'8". I wish I was 6'8".
Well, Brittany Griner could give you some tips on how being 6'8" is. Johnson makes both free throws, but Minnehaha has a long way to go if they want to rally back.
Good look, Eric.
High-low play for Johnson. Tyler Johnson with 14.
You can see that they're playing their post players right now. They're getting down low. And Minnehaha need to watch that. So get back in.
Suggs. To Johnson. That's strong.
Congo take it.
Well, not for
Suggs.
long.
Still.
Now. Oh, good move by Suggs. I was wondering, he had Rogers there as the pick. I was wondering what Suggs was going to do there.
See?
Wilson left alone on the high-low play, and that's going to be a foul on Johnson. But North spacing things out there. And even if the Redhawks don't come back, to see what Jalen Suggs is doing already.
That's wonderful.
And presumably he'll have a few more years left for the Redhawks.
Yeah.
If he sticks around. So this is a strong start to his varsity career. Wilson makes the back end, and Wilson, along with Suggs, are tied for the game high right now. It's Benny Larry. That three rattles out. Wilson and Suggs have 15 points each.
Dang.
And that was a block from Johnson, the 8th grader blocking the sophomore. Howard used up the dribble, goes back out to Suggs. Wilson.
What?
Suggs gets his own miss.
Rim? Did you see the net move, or was that me? Did somebody grab the net?
I've just seen high-flying
Me too.
players near the board. I wouldn't want to be in the middle of that.
Me neither. Look.
Howard bouncing over to Suggs. Corner three.
That's in there.
Yes.
I'm surprised he's actually by the three-point line this time.
Well, we've seen him, shoot about 40-foot three-pointers.
Too hard.
The officials are letting them play here in the second. Well, not that time. Who's it on? It's on Howard. That's his first. And of course, with all the fouls that are being called, Suggs got in there at the end, and so I was wondering if he was tagged with it. In any case, it's free throws for Tyler Johnson. What would you think his impact, or what do you think he's done for this school?
Tyler?
Yes, because this is his senior year. No matter what happens, he's done after this. What impact will he leave for the Polars?
He's been here since when Polars weren't winning any team. He stuck to it, and now he's winning. He told me, like, now that I'm glad that I stayed with North, because if it wasn't for this, he would never have the opportunity to actually go to state and for football or be here. winning games with the Polars, we made leadership. The pass.
Johnson can't finish the reverse. Last touch by the Redhawks.
But yeah, he brings really leadership to the team.
Siegel Howard made the last three-pointer for the Redhawks, and it's interesting you mentioned that because there was a piece, actually did a feature on Tyler last year, and that's something he talked about because his first year, the last year before Larry McKenzie took over, there was a lot of losing, as you alluded to, and it was frustrating. And even his father had said, if you stick with it, good things will come. And McKenzie came in, retooled this program, and like you said, Tyler Johnson, even though he hasn't won a state championship, that's going to be a foul on the Redhawks and free throws coming for Johnson. He hasn't won a state championship yet, but he's going to be a part of something more, no matter whatever happens to him in his senior season for the Polars. That foul is on Williamson, his third. And that's something that will last a lot longer because everyone, of course you want to win a state championship, but to be part of this revitalization of the school, of this community, that says something.
That says a lot, actually. Isaac on the line right now. He missed his first one.
So did Tyler Johnson, did he convince you to come to North?
No. Actually, it was really good coach. Kale that was here. He's the one that talked to me my 8th grade year.
Isaac Johnson makes the back end, or makes both, I should say. Yes, the back end. So it's a 16-point game in favor of the Polars. Sanders Smith on the drive.
Isaac shot.
Isaac couldn't clean it up.
Looks up.
Bickham. Good passing. And Caden Johnson with the finish. Well, it's an old adage in basketball. Oh, hang on. Johnson racing to the rim. No.
Good still, Jaquan.
Somebody forgot to put on the brakes.
This game kind of getting crazy.
North ball, or I should say Minnehaha ball. It's so crazy, I don't even know whose ball it is anymore.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that last score by Johnson, it's the adage that passing the balls, you can pass the ball more quickly than you can dribble, and that's why. Suggs.
He has tremendous speed. Still by Pat.
Well, those deep passes are always in danger of being picked off. And now we're seeing a patient possession. I don't think we've seen that in this half. A team play methodically here. Johnson.
Good step back.
Fade away.
Short.
And that's a foul. 2 more free throws for Tyler Johnson. Tom Williamson is 4th, so 2 Redhawks now with 4 fouls, and on top of that, they're out of fouls to give, so. You noted in the first half that North was playing a little more slowly, maybe a little more patiently, and now it seems like in the second half they are really trying to speed things up. Now, for those of you Tyler Johnson fans who might be shedding a few tears when he graduates, remember he does have a younger brother, so the Johnson legacy far from over. And Suggs tripped. Nope, travel. So, well, he did trip. He just tripped over himself. Timeout. Minneapolis North. And they have 2 remaining. They lead by 15. So Minnehaha, they're not out of it yet, but North really clamping, or not say clamping down, but North still pushing the pace here, and the Redhawks having trouble keeping up.
Yeah. Minnehaha is starting to get together too, as you can see too. They're both trying to play so fast and not be patient that they're all jacking shots.
Well, what I've noticed in Minnehaha's case, and part of it is the fouls on Suggs, but they're starting to get a little more distribution with their scoring.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you. Have you received any autograph requests in the last week?
No, not yet. No,
there was a
just
story
kidding.
on the North girls team, and she was part of it. She was featured, so got a few retweets and likes on social media. So I've been wondering now that we've exposed you to the entire school, that if you've become Mrs. Popular, but I guess not.
Same old.
Same old model, same old hoops enthusiast. I tell you, I tell you, this slow downward spiral of yours. No, what you've been doing, I think, is really cool, and so it's nice to have some of your perspective on the to add to this game, not just on the sport, but about some of these players who I imagine you've shared a few classes with.
Oh yeah.
Over the years. Johnson picks it up, so he gets the turnaround, can't bank it. What do you try to do if you're Minnehaha to rally back here? You're down by 15, but you've got the players who can reel in the deficit.
I'll actually try to get stronger defense and watch the paint, because that's where Polish are trying to get it in right now, is just the paint. You can see they're not taking as much shots as they did the first half. Now they're just trying to get the big man or Tyler or Biggs to get their boards. So Minnehaha need to watch the middle. As you can see, the Polish are watching the shooting, because Suggs with the ball. He distracted me.
Tyler Johnson not taking any chance on him.
They're playing tight.
Suggs off the screen.
Shot.
Has the space. And you know what? That was too short for him.
Zerk.
You want to know
diving for the ball.
And that's our first jump. And the arrow favors the Redhawks. If you want to know why Jalen Suggs missed that shot, it's because he was inside the arc.
Yeah. He
needed to be about 35 feet, and he would have made it.
Yeah.
But first time we've seen a screenplay designed for Suggs, I think. Or at least the first time I can remember.
That's the second one, actually.
Well, your memory is far more intact than mine is. You probably know a few things. Whoa!
Tyler leaned it back off a little bit.
And North is picking up fouls rather quickly. That's just the second on Tyler Johnson. But when it was Suggs and you see Tyler take a tumble, a few fans are probably holding their breath. Now, for you, I guess, if you're Jalen,
backing off a little bit.
If you're Jalen Suggs or someone else, because I'm guessing you've been through this situation. Well, hang on, Peden Johnson from the wing, and he's fouled. So North with 3 fouls in about 40 seconds. I was going to say, how do you handle playing with 3-4 fouls when you're in foul trouble and trying to stay in the game?
I mean, you can't play tight anymore because you got 4 fouls, and he's shooting for Minnehaha, and they need him. So he need to back off a little bit. As you can see, that's what the coach probably told him to back off. He hasn't been sticking MSD.
Peden Johnson, who's averaging about 6.5 a game, shooting 3 here. And if he makes these 3, the Redhawks get a little bit closer. Well, it's a 13-point game now, and North extended it to 21, but the Redhawks are kind of within that range where, if they get a couple more baskets, they could get a lift of momentum. He makes all 3. All right, what does North do here?
Slow it down. They're running their plays actually right now. Foul. He's on the line.
Fouls on Johnson. I believe that's his first. I guess that's another way to stop a run is draw fouls.
That's the second person.
Well, the scoreboard's paying more attention than I am. But Dembley to shoot 2. And I still hear some fans of yours.
It's 2. It's 2. Come on.
So the Redhawks are out of fouls to give, and North is using up all of theirs. 9 minutes left. They were at 1 a minute ago. Now they're up to 5, but the foul is on Rogers. That's just his first. And Johnson misses the free throw. And Caden Johnson missing the front end. But
remember, Caden's just an 8th grader, right?
Yep.
Yeah. They really do got a young team.
They do have a few the 3 seniors on their squad. 3 of them start.
Yeah, 3 seniors and 3 8th graders that are really good. So they got a good future. Minnehaha.
Let's just say I was nowhere near as talented as these 8th graders were when I was their age. I was lucky if I could dribble.
Look middle. Laser's there.
It's a 13-point game, and North.
You can see they got good defense right now. Minnehaha.
North looking to slow things down a bit. Backdoor pass for Johnson. Got it. And he slips up. But Johnson up to 19 unofficially. Suggs. They've got Larry open from the corner. Bickham draws the foul late on Wilson, and that is North's last to give. So, and Wilson picking up his 4th. And that'd be a huge loss, especially with the play he's had in the paint tonight. So North still up comfortably, but the Redhawks making it difficult for them.
They're having really good defense. You see, their defense is starting to tighten up a little bit.
And JaVonni Bickham, we haven't heard much of him. If he can get a groove here in these last few minutes, we could have a real contest in our hands here.
Rebound by Isaac.
Redhawks split though.
Pass or not.
Perhaps that would have been wiser to do so.
Pass it to Jackson.
Because Dembley missed on the way up. Travel. And Tyler Johnson, perhaps, I don't want to say lucky, but catches a break there. Might have been a foul otherwise. 8 minutes to go, and North still in control. They're up by 14. And that's number 34, Jamiri Jackson. Who finishes off the high-low play.
They're playing tight on Suggs.
Too tight. So free throws coming. Remember, both teams in the penalty now. Now, how often do your coaches drill you on free throws? Because this is going to be a free throw.
Free throws win games. You know that? Free throws wins games.
Memphis didn't in 2008.
Another one.
But the Lynx did this year, or the last year. In the games they won in the playoffs, they were able to work their way to the line and just overwhelm their opponent from there, with the exception of Game 5. And Minnehaha will call a timeout. They trail by 14 with 7:33 left. A little bit of strategy here. And how are you holding up?
This is a good game, man.
Any more fans that we should be aware of?
A lot of them are actually. I try to pay attention more to the court than I am to them.
Well, don't pay attention to me. I'm not worth paying attention to.
You got a lot of fans at North, Mike.
Yes. I dare to think what the reaction would be if I came in during school hours or something. I don't think I'd ever get out of the school.
You wouldn't.
I don't think I'd ever get out. But it's been fun coming up here. So Jalen Suggs up to 20 points.
You got 20 points?
He has 20 unofficially. And I spoke with Lance Johnson at the last game that I covered with Central, and naturally you're going to go through some growing pains and decision making, and when you're an 8th grader, I mean, a lot of things are still developing, but he really liked his potential, and something he said that Suggs does really well is drive to the rim.
Yeah. Suggs drives to the rim really hard? Did you just say Suggs drives?
He can drive.
Yeah, he could.
We've seen him try that a couple of times.
But his specialty is shooting. You can see he can shoot from anywhere.
I don't think anyone told. Yes.
Yeah, he can shoot from.
I don't remember if they told me about 3-point shooting, but I'm not going to forget now.
Don't forget, because he can shoot from anywhere in this game.
Here's my question: can you shoot from 30 feet?
I'm gonna get there.
Work on that in practice, all right? Because if I cover a North girls game and if you happen to be involved in it, I want to see you hit a 30-point shot. So what does North do here? Because they're in that cusp. You're all about slowing it down, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Patience is key. See?
Good look, too.
Mm-hmm.
But Jamiri Jackson left it short, and Jackson, he's a junior, but maybe perhaps not as experienced as...
Football is his game. But Jameer is a good player, too.
Not as experienced as Wilson, I would say, in the basketball court.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
What do you make about that, though, North being a football school?
We're a basketball school, too.
Well, that was my point. Everyone knows about North for their basketball.
And football. Sports is what we're known for.
Bickham. Well, good IQ on his part to throw up the shot and draw the foul. And the Redhawks with another chance to chip away. They've been stuck at about 14 or so.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they've been known as a basketball school for years, and I don't want to say folks forgot that they can play football, but how cool was that to get to see North play in the football championship this year?
It was really good, actually.
So you went to the U of M, or?
Yeah, I was there. I was like the front row, screaming. I was my boys.
So how mad were you at the end of that game when Minneapolis won?
I walked out. I'm sorry.
Well, you kind of had to walk out because
I had to walk out. Like,
I don't think they would have they wouldn't let you stay.
No, I walked out earlier. Too hard.
I couldn't. Whoa.
What? Twice. It's still holding.
And that's going to be a foul on Siegel Howard, his second. So Bickham splits. I had to stay because I had to cover that game for our show.
Oh, yeah.
But that's when I had a chance to speak with Tyler, and I asked him, after the press conference, are we gonna see you in the basketball court? He's like, oh yeah, without hesitation. Isaac Johnson to the line. Did you have any doubts that he was going to play?
No, I didn't have any doubts. I knew Tyler was going to come play basketball.
Trent Wentz, the associate head coach, told me, in fact, the next day he was there in practice.
Yeah.
So his body can take a beating, and he's going to come back and keep going. He's just an athlete.
Really good athlete.
You may know this. His idol growing up was Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Isaac Johnson made both free throws, by the way. And that pushes the lead back to 15, and Dembley with the deflection. And that's where North seems to, again, instinct and just the familiarity, being the third year with McKenzie. Even if they're not getting steals, I see them getting more deflections in this game. What's your take? Same?
Yep.
No words necessary. Williamson clutches. And Johnson was there for the stop.
Travel?
Yes.
Travel.
Took a little bit. Well, deflections is something that you might be familiar with. That's an element that Cheryl Reed preaches to her players over at the Lynx. Getting your hands in the lanes and just swatting the ball.
Cole's trying to slow it down right now.
Bounce pass to Jackson.
Jameer.
Bickham with the block. Jameer did come up a little bit soft, I thought. And one. That's not a sequence you want to remember if you're Jamiri Jackson. As he gets hit with a foul, and Bickham can draw this within 12 if he makes this free throw. And Jackson going out in place of Rogers, and I'm not surprised that he's being subbed out. McKenzie holding off on Wilson for now. Now, we've been talking about the 8th graders. What's your take on Bickham? One of the veterans on this team as a sophomore.
He's good, actually, too. Yeah. North need to slow it down right now.
12-point game. Tyler Johnson too high off the window. Isaac Johnson, third tries the charm.
Well, Bickham is a really good post player, and he knows how to handle the ball. I didn't see that. I haven't seen that in a while. A post player that can handle the ball and not hesitate to drive in really hard.
And as we've seen throughout this game, North has some really good rebounders. Suggs can't hit the runner. Williamson goes behind, and he's blocked by Taylor Johnson, I believe. No look dish to Rogers, and he lays it in.
Suggs, take a shot.
There it is.
Short. He rushed it a little bit, but.
And that might be desperation, you think? Down by 16? And that's a foul. So with 4:39 left, Isaac Johnson can maybe clinch this for the Polars, but the next game for North is Hopkins, and how exciting is that game going to be?
That's going to be a really exciting game. Good luck finding parking, guys. I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll be getting here early, but I have to set up all of this equipment that we use to make you sound astute, crisp, and all of those glorious things. But that should be a fun game. Number 1 in Class A against number 1 in Class 4A, and on top of that, you've got Khalid Alamin's son, who plays for Hopkins. His cousin plays for North.
Nah, it's on me.
And we all know what Khalid did for this school back in the 90s. Suggs short on the runner. Dembley with the transition bucket, and that should be enough to close out this game as Minneapolis North goes up by 20.
Good steal. The Minnehaha right now is rushing it. Come on, Isaac.
And Isaac left it a little strong, but, well, you see Minnehaha. No, that was just Bickham.
Okay.
That was just Bickham
Big.
extending as far as he could go. Taylor Johnson saying, I can do that too.
Really
No, he
rushing
can't.
right now.
But Minneapolis North, their points, their second chance points tonight, I have to imagine, are up there. Isaac Johnson and Wilson in particular have really been cleaning things up. Timeout, Minnehaha, 3:41 left. And it looks like the Polos will hang on to go to 14-2, and if that is the case, that would increase their winning streak to 5. That happens to be your winning streak. I think the boys are trying to copy you. Yeah, but so 3:41 left. What do you think about this whole experience?
It's been a good game. I tell you, that 8th grader got me surprised with shooting.
And how about you? How are you handling it? Any stage fright yet?
No, a little bit, not too much though. I don't know how you doing, Mike.
Well, I find a bunch of fans who shout me out during the game, and that gives me that inflates my ego to monstrous proportions, and then that gets me enough to go through the game. No, it does. I don't have a posse. But I'll say this: there was the first time for me, if you can believe it.
This is your first, you said?
No, I said there was the first time for me.
I know.
If you can believe that. It was way back, long before there was smartphones, and we didn't have selfie wasn't a term yet. And you were this
over and back.
Yep. And the reason for that, if you're not familiar, Lockett caught the pass, but he went backwards. You can catch it in the backcourt and not incur the violation, but you can't go forward and backwards. It's actually been 10 years since I started calling games, if you can believe that.
Isaac with the shot. It's short. Couldn't get that back in.
Well, we know this much. You really seem to be, you really admired the 8th graders on this Minnehaha team,
yeah.
Suggs in particular, and as I say that, he throws it away. I guess, what do you see on them going forward? You had a chance to see them in one game. Isaac Johnson, he's up to 16.
Right back.
You've seen it.
Back to Suggs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've seen them for a couple of games
yeah.
now. Do we see them in the 2A state tournament?
Yeah. Ooh, that was a foul. Late. Sorry.
Well, do we see Minnehaha in the 2A bracket? I mean, are they going to make the 2A tournament?
If their defense becomes solid, I'm pretty sure they have a shot there.
And I think the other question, as Johnson will shoot 2, the other question, how does their youth handle that environment if they get that far? Because every school makes the playoffs, but the farther you go, the bigger the crowds get, the more hype, the more media, and just the more it can overwhelm you if you're not prepared for it. I'm sure that's how you felt when I showed up last month.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Why is he interviewing me?
No.
Johnson, what is up with the rim tonight? Well,
Luulay's good to get up there.
Bickham, he'll pad his number to 17. Dembley, bullseye. Nope, that's a 2, but still good. Well, like we said, entering this game, North had 5 players averaging double figures in scoring. And by my count, we have 5, but Dembley taking a hard hit, and that's something that North might be wary about, because as we noted in the open before you got here, Jameel Jackson unable to play tonight because dealing with the sore body from the game with Southwest last night.
Yeah.
And speaking of leadership, I wanted to get to that, as I think this is indicative of how much everyone gets along here. The Southwest game was a runaway, 37 points, and so at the end of the game, they had Tyler Johnson and Jameel Jackson pick the line changes to go in at the end.
Yeah.
So they picked the subs to come out on the floor. I don't know if that's ever happened in one of your games, but...
Not yet.
Free throws coming for Dembley. And while this may seem like another routine win for North, it's all about building for the end goal. And
It's the Hopkins game.
well, not just the Hopkins game, but they want to win state. That was their goal last year, and they feel for them anything less, and they won't be happy with the result. But as Dembley makes both, what does it mean, for someone like you who goes here, and maybe for folks who've been in the area, because you hear a lot about the bad things that go on. Everyone likes to make a big deal about those. As Bickham hits a 3-pointer. Hang on, Taylor Johnson. Oh,
No foul?
they came in late. That's going to be on Bickham, his 4th. Even if they don't have the state titles to go along with it, they've given this school something to rally around. And so for you, I was going to say, just how exciting is it to come here, know that you've got some great athletes who are setting themselves up not just to be great players, but great people to look to for the younger folks.
That's wonderful, because we got a lot of they think North is just they have a biased perspective of North State, and then now the team being so good, not only in basketball but in academics, also is showing them that it's not always about sports. We can be good sport players, but also good athletes. The North is here in this college. Ooh. Whoa.
And Tyler Johnson with an encore on the alley-oop. You knew he had to get at least one in there. He's got the vertical for it.
Cut. Rush.
And I think this game was decided by North's depth and I think just the tempo of this game. Because even though there were a few times where you suggested North slow it down, their speed, I think, was simply too much for Minnehaha to handle.
Yeah, Nas and Marquise back in the game. Or in the game, I should say.
We'll let that slide. What about you? So are you going to come back to the booth here? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to come back. I like it here. It's fun. Like I'm running. Like,
you're running? You seem a little nervous with all of this as Taylor Johnson. There have been a couple of times where you looked a little tense.
Yeah, because I'm so used to like being interested in the game. Rebound by 9.
Are you saying you're not interested in this?
He's gonna dunk?
I mean, look, as Eric Rogers is going to dunk. You're going to tell me that's not interesting?
That is really interesting.
If you told me that wasn't interesting, I would have sent you out myself.
Shot. Oh.
Lockett banks it in, and that's his first field goal. And Minnehaha will regroup. Again, they're a young team, and so I've got a feeling that... Cut? What do you mean cut?
I mean,
this game's not over. I know what you're talking about. I'm driving a little fun here.
I see.
This game's not over yet. There's 40 more seconds. But they're young, and as you and I have talked about several times, that's a good thing. It might mean they make some mistakes because of the lack of experience now, but Bickham and Suggs in particular, that's going to be a great tandem over the next couple of years.
Right. They have a bright future at them. They play 8th grade year varsity.
And this isn't like Minnehaha's new. I mean, they've been a top-tier team in 2A for years, going back to the days in the Tri-Metro, and who can forget the rivalry with De La Salle back in those days. As Taylor Johnson is at the line, but they switched to the Independent Metro Athletic Conference now, so maybe not as the teams there aren't quite as strong, but they still get some good non-conference opponents, and this is one of them. And if Minnehaha's is where North was 2 years ago, then look out.
Yeah.
We saw what North could do, and imagine what these guys could do in 2A. The teams that could pose a threat include Melrose, last year's champions, but once you've been to the state tournament, you know what it takes, and even if the players aren't there, you have the experience to draw from. Well, one thing's for sure, North doesn't back down from their philosophy no matter what time of the game it is. But they'll run out the clock here, or not. I thought they were. But that's not the first time they fooled me. Well, it was certainly fun having you up here in the booth. Hopefully I haven't scared you off.
No, you didn't.
I can be very intimidating, as you've seen.
Okay.
As you've seen with all of my words and narration. But a well-played game for North. They controlled this one for most of it. And a great precursor for their upcoming match with Hopkins. The final here, Minneapolis North 93, Minnehaha 70. What's your final take of these two teams?
They both did really good. That's all I can tell you.
No complex analysis. They just both are really good. And so hopefully they'll get Jamil back for the Hopkins game. But I'd say this. Hopkins is going to have their hands full. I don't know who's going to win that game.
Me neither. I'll be there. You're going to hear me screaming everywhere.
Well, hopefully we can bring you back here for that game. I know I'll be here. It's going to be a fun one. Yeah. We'll try to get it word with some of the North players before we wrap things up. This is high school boys basketball. Minneapolis North wins 93-70. And I'm joined by Tyler Johnson and Odell Wilson IV. Tyler, we'll start with you. The goal this season was unfinished business and still a long way to go, but how does a game like this help continue that process?
It helps a lot. Minnehaha is a very good program. They're very young. you know, and they like to get up and down the court, you know, so it's going to be kind of different in the states during the state tournament run. So a team like that, you know, we just got to play with them. You know, they like to play fast and we like to play fast, but for the next few games, it's going to be a lot of fast-paced play, so this was a good test.
And how do you handle someone like Jalen Suggs who could hit three-pointers in the same way Steph Curry can from about 75 feet out?
You know, it's pretty hard to guard a player like that, you know, especially if they can shoot from one step across half court, you know. So sometimes you just got to pray that they're going to miss, you know, and in the second half, he didn't hit that many threes like he did in the first half, so that was a kind of a defensive adjustment that we had. So we played pretty good defensively in the second half, kind of.
This is your third year now in Larry McKenzie's system. How does the camaraderie show in a game like this?
Say that again?
How does the camaraderie, your chemistry?
Oh, it's getting better, you know. We know what he likes to see, you know, and he knows what we like to do out there, you know. So not all the time we go by what he says, you know, but a lot of the plays is on us, you know. So he doesn't want us to play just like robots, basically, you know. He wants us to be ourselves out there on the court.
And your transition attack, offense and defense, was on point tonight. How can you guys run so fast and stay in control?
You know, in practice we get up and down a lot, you know, so we get a good connection in practice, you know, so and that carries over to the game, so that's how we play pretty fast together.
Well, Odell, we'll talk to you for a moment. Your nickname is Biggs, although tonight I think you could have easily been Mr. Clean, having a lot of putbacks. So how were you able to crash the boards?
I mean, I just boxed out really hard and ran through the middle and stand on the opposite side. What we do in practice is work on getting rebounds and just trying to anticipate where the ball is going to be and stay active.
And with this core that you've had for the last few years, how does that develop your leadership and maturity?
It develops a lot. It helped me mature more as a person and as a teammate. So talking now and just saying what I see on the court and what I see in practice to help us during the long run.
And how tough was Minnehaha in the paint tonight? I know you've kept them out a few times, but you still had some great drivers like JaVonni Bickham.
Can you repeat that question?
How tough were they in the paint tonight with folks like Bickham?
They was pretty solid, pretty strong, but I mean, it's just preparing us for the long run. Like I said, in the state tournament, there's going to be people just like that, maybe a little stronger. So it's just preparing us for later on throughout the season.
Well, even in your next game, you get Hopkins on Tuesday. I know that's going to be a big one, but how do you get ready for that, and how does that help achieve your goals moving forward?
Just keep practicing and just practice hard and aggressive and just be ready for that game. There's nothing really else you could do. Just practice hard and pray and do whatever you got to do. I mean, not much really. Just like I said, practice hard and that's all I got to say. Practice hard.
And Tyler, what do you make of the support here, not just from the fans, but from your future football comrades? Your head coach, Tracy Claeys, your soon-to-be head coach is here tonight, and in your last game, you had several of your football comrades in attendance.
You know, it's pretty good for them to come out and watch me play, you know, especially since I'm going to be playing with them and under him next season. So pretty good, you know, and I'm pretty sure they like the way that I play. You know, my athleticism will be used a lot.
And finally, anyone you want to say hi to?
Just shout out to everybody on the north side, man. You know how we doing it out here. We doing it big.
What about you, Biggs?
Same, shout out to the north side, man.
Well, the north side has responded valiantly over the last several years. I don't know if we'll see you guys in state. There's a long way to go before then, but this was a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys can keep this up on Tuesday.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Tyler Johnson and Odell Wilson IV. That wraps up our coverage from here. For everyone on our crew, I'm Mike Peden. Thank you for watching high school boys basketball.